Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me, Aaron G. We're going to talk today about Bitcoin and, in general, this whole crypto space. If you think it's time to invest, um, or if you, well, pretty much if you think you should or you think you shouldn't. So we're going to talk about, we're going to look at some charts, but I'm not going to make it too complicated. It'll be easy enough so that pretty much anybody can understand what it is that's going on in this space, and I will be discussing the different cryptos that I think look really good and are in general safe bets, and why I think, from a technical standpoint, that they will do well. Now, one of the most frequently asked questions is, well, why should I trust Bitcoin? Why should I trust crypto? Because a lot of people think that it's quote unquote fake money and all that. Which is valid. I mean, there's fundamental issues that they have with the coin. So we're going to not so much discuss the fundamental side, but we're going to discuss the technical side. And that is, as you can see here, the charts. Now, if you show me any kind of chart that looks what's known as bullish, that means it seems likely that the price will go up, then, well, I'm going to be bullish on that asset. Simply put, if you show me a chart that looks bearish, like this one does, then I will be bearish on that asset, regardless of what the fundamental nature of it is. And if you want to look up the fundamental characteristics of Bitcoin, you can feel free to do that on your own. It's not very difficult to do. It doesn't take very much research or digging to find out if you think it is legit or not. So enough of the fundamental side of Bitcoin and the crypto space. Let's get into the technical side. All right, so we are currently on a weekly chart. Each of these candles is one week in length. Okay, so like this candle's a length, this candle's a week, this candle's a week, etc. Okay, so we're going to start from the beginning back over here. Not the beginning of crypto, but just where this chart is. Okay, this is back in April of 2017. Okay, and the price was coming up, and a lot of people didn't start hearing about Bitcoin until it was like over here on this green candle, and it closed at 7,000. This is around Halloween of 2017. Now I remember a couple weeks back. Let's go back to July. July 24th. Man, I will never forget this day. Bitcoin was climbing, and it was at 2,800. It hit an all-time high. It was testing all-time highs again. And I remember asking my grandfather, who was an investor in the stock market, very conservative one, never went crazy on it, but just made very, very conservative investments in it. And he would talk to various family members of mine about investing in the stock market. Well, I remember I asked him about Bitcoin. I said, "Papa, what do you think? Should I invest in Bitcoin?" And he said, "I wouldn't touch it." And so I took his advice. He was a very sound man. He made a lot of very good judgments in his life on investment. So I said, "Okay, I will take his advice. I will not touch it." But a part of me was like, "Man, I really want to get in the game." Well, it was very tough to resist the urge to FOMO, fear of missing out, at 2,800, because over the next couple months we watched it climb all the way up to 20K, nearly a 10x. So if you had invested $1,000 at that point, well, pretty much from 2,500, that's an 8x. So if you had invested even 500 back over here, multiply that times 8, that's 4K that you would have had at the top in just a couple months' time. I mean, that is unheard of. It was called a bubble. Of course, it rejected. We had a rejection here at 20,000. Came back down all the way to 8. And then it came up here to 17K, but it rejected from there. And that was your warning signal that if you were holding from somewhere back over here, you have a high, and it looked like it was making a lower high. Well, it was confirmed on the close over here at 13,000. So if you had invested, or 13,600. So if you would have invested at 2,500 and then you saw it do this, and it confirmed a high over here, you would have known it was confirmed by this candle closing below where this one opened. You would have still made like 6x, which your 500 would have still been like 3,000, something like that. So you would have made a nice profit, but that would have been your warning signal to get out of the market. Well, sure enough, shortly after that, just like a month later, it crashed all the way down to 6K. And then, this is the very important point going forward. It closed, or it hit 11.8 a few times over here, and then rejected. And then ultimately, it kept making lower highs while similar lows. It's a very bearish pattern, and so it dumped all the way to 3K from 20K. People were panicking. I remember being in this space during that time, and people were just absolutely going nuts. They were like, I am down 85% on my portfolio. I need to sell now. And a lot of people sold over here. I remember there were YouTube videos of people calling for $500 Bitcoin. I mean, it was absolutely insane what people were saying at that time. Not long, and to be honest with you guys, this is probably where the institutions were accumulating. It was right around here, JP Morgan, Chase Bank, all those kind of places, Wall Street. I can almost guarantee you that they were buying around here. Well, then what happens? Well, by no surprise, it climbs from a low of 3,100 all the way up to 13.8. And a lot of people were really excited during this time because they had made like 3 or 4x on their investment. But it got rejected from 13.8. So we try again. There's no confirmed high on the weekly yet. Over here, it climbs up once again to 13K. Rejects. Look at that. We dump down and we close below the open of that green candle. So yet again, we have a confirmed high. We come back, we set a lower high, and this one comes up to where? Up to 12.3, but look where we close at. We closed at 11.6. So look at this line. I'm going to add a horizontal here. Okay, let's just say 11.566. So about 11.5. So look, we came over here. Weekly closed above it. Let's even go back over here. So initially when we came up, we rejected here, but then we quickly blasted through it. Base support off here a few times, basing support, and then bam, rejected, comes back, tested again, rejected. A year later, we come back, rejects, we can't close a weekly above it, rejects, and rejects. That's 3 consecutive rejections in that weekly. We come down a little bit, and then we test it one more time, and bam, just straight up rejected. Okay, so not long after that, a couple months later, we had the coronavirus dump, but look at where we dumped down to. We dumped all the way to 3,800, which is a similar area over here where Bitcoin was accumulating. Not surprisingly, we bounced up, and ultimately it was off to the races. But I want to show you guys something interesting. Over here on this candle, we closed a weekly above this pivotal 11.6 area. We had not done that since the run up to 20K. So that was, for me personally, that was a sign that, okay, it might be time to invest in Bitcoin again, because at the time I don't think I owned any, or if I did, I owned very little, very, very little. I mean, I'm talking a fraction of one. I had very little Bitcoin. Well, over here on this weekly candle, we opened and closed above 11.6. So I was like, man, this is the time to invest. So I did. It was a small investment. I didn't, refinance my house to do it or pull out equity from my home to do it, but I did put some money in the game. Well, not long after that, we dumped, and so I'm over here thinking, okay, we opened and closed above this area that the institutions were rejecting. Then we dumped. So that's going to tell me one of two things. This is either a fake out that we're not going back up, possibly testing new highs again, or that this was just a test for the institutions. This was their last chance to accumulate before we blasted on up to the upside. So I felt that this was still a very bullish signal, and I said I'm running with it. I am not just going to sell right here. And boy, am I glad I didn't, because look, just about a month or two afterwards, we closed back above this area, and then we opened and closed that area. And not only that, but we closed above 13.7, which was an area of interest over here. And pretty much after that, guys, we tested. I'm going to put it back to the monthly. Come back down. Okay, we tested 20K, got rejected at first. But pretty much, guys, it's just been off to the races ever since. And so from 20K, the previous all-time high, to here, that's a 3x, or a 200% return on investment, had you bought just even a tick above this area. All right? So that's very important for the various cryptos that I will be talking about. So Bitcoin was the big bad leader. Okay, it's the OG crypto. There have been none before it. So it leads the market. Pretty much this whole space goes wherever Bitcoin goes. There's a few exceptions. Let's go on now to Ethereum. Okay, so if Bitcoin's the leader in this market and it did a 3x, let's look at the previous all-time high for Ethereum. It was just under 1,600. So a 3x from 1,600 would be 4,800. So we have officially closed several monthly candles above where this close was, which was at 1,100. So if it does what Bitcoin does, and 3x is from here, again, that's nearly at $5,000. It's currently at 1,782. Now, does it have to get there? No, it doesn't have to get to 5K, but it can. And I personally believe that we can see 5K Ethereum once this bull run is over. Now, a lot of people are asking, Aaron, Bitcoin hasn't really... I've actually gotten this question. They say Bitcoin hasn't really moved lately. Well, look at just this month. We're on March 22nd. All right, that's when I'm making this. It opened at 45K and hit a high of basically 62K. If you had just bought at the open and held to the high, you would have been up like 35%. Okay, in just a couple weeks' time. That just doesn't happen in other markets. That doesn't happen in traditional markets. Okay, so anyone who's saying that Bitcoin's not really moving, they're tripping. Straight up. There's no other way to say it. Okay, so once again, Bitcoin was the leader. Ethereum over here is somewhat of a follower. And you can bet that other altcoins, that is, cryptos that are not Ethereum, it's very likely that they will follow in said footsteps. So I laid out about a dozen coins I have my eye on that I think are really going to, if they follow the trajectory Bitcoin did, they're really going to take off. Okay? So you could say it's like a bit of a mental fantasy, but or whatever. But let's just look at some of them. ADA Cardano. All right, you can get this on Kraken. Kraken's super easy to sign up if anyone's interested. I have a link and a step-by-step guide. It's very easy. It takes maybe 20 minutes to set up the account and to invest. But look at this, Cardano, had a high of $1.40 back in January of 2018. That was the huge altcoin bubble, and then bam, we crashed. And we had a multi-year accumulation from January 2018 to October 2020. That's almost 3 years. And then bam, off to the races. Now, the previous all-time high was $1.40. So again, we're just going to pretend for all these that it's going to follow the trajectory that Bitcoin laid out, okay, and 3x from its previous all-time high. That would get you to roughly a little bit over $4. That's like almost a 4x from here. Let's look at Litecoin. This one was huge. So back in 2017, the different altcoins that were big in those days were the currency coins. So, something like Cardano, something like Litecoin was fast. It was like Bitcoin, but faster. Something like Dash, again, like Bitcoin, but faster. Bitcoin Cash, like Bitcoin, but faster. Stuff like that. Those were the coins that were really getting it back then. They were really, gaining. The previous all-time high for this was $370. So if it were to triple from its all-time high, that's $1,100. It's currently sitting near 200, so you'd be looking around 5x, 6x, something like that. Let's go to Dash. Its previous high, 1625. So if it were to 3x, you'd be basically looking at 5K. 5K from 220, I mean, shoot, that's over a 20x. Now here's a coin that I can't mathematically prove will do as well as the others, but this is a very bullish chart. You have your high initially, you have your low, you have a lower high, so you would think we're going to go lower, but then it makes a higher low. Well, what's going to follow from a higher low? A higher high. Bam, it makes that. And then it makes it again. We have a higher low, and then we have made another higher high, but the high's not in place yet. All right, so this is a coin I'm very bullish on. You can stake it, which means if you just buy and hold, you'll get paid interest to hold that coin. EOS, this is another one I have my eyes on. Its previous all-time high was $9, 3x from that, 27. Currently sitting at 420, so you'd be looking at like a 6x. NEO, this coin was huge in 2017. Okay, it went from a low, it says 13 here, but I remember talking to people who owned it when it was like 50 cents. They owned it from 50 cents to 200. That's insane gains, guys. I mean, that is just, that's like a 4,000% move or something like that. That's just absolutely nuts. So from this previous all-time high, if we were to triple that, that'd be 600. So you'd be looking at like a 15x. Tron, this is another coin that was huge in 2017. Had a high of 45 cents. If you were to triple that, you'd be looking at roughly $1.40. It's currently at 6 cents. So let me tell you guys, so with Cardano, we looked at a little bit ago. That coin, I remember owning it at 6 cents, and man, am I kicking myself, because it's basically 20x from there. Well, if you missed that train, it's very possible that Tron will hit that. If you look here, I mean, there is nothing bearish about this chart. You have a multi-year consolidation. If the monthly closes anywhere above, what is this wick high? The previous high was 5.3 cents. If we close anywhere above that, it's currently sitting at 6.3 cents. I'm massively bullish on this long term. Probably does test at minimum 10 cents, but I highly doubt it stops there. Once again, if it follows the trajectory of Bitcoin, you'd be looking at a massive gain. I mean, we're talking like like a 25x. Tron, unfortunately, is not available on Coinbase. It's only available on it's on Kraken. It's on Binance, but I personally would go to Kraken. They comply with U.S. Federal regulations and all that. Here's another coin I'm extremely bullish on, but it's a part of the DeFi sector. If you don't know what DeFi is, feel free to do some research on it. It's an up-and-coming sector of crypto. Its previous all-time high was $3.44. Okay, if you were to triple that, that would get you roughly like $11.25, something like that. It's currently sitting at $1.19, so that would be a 10x. This is another one of those coins that you can hold on Coinbase. It'll pay you 6% annually to hold. I'm very bullish on any of these staking coins. A whole bunch of them have made massive gains. So, and this one's no different. It has made big gains, but I think it's only going to continue to make big gains. I'm very bullish on that one. Rep Augur. This is another coin that was huge in 2017, 2018. I remember following it, and there were all sorts of insane predictions of it. All right, so let's go to the previous all-time high. That was over here. Let's ignore that scam wick. That was probably just a bad print, and those happen with exchanges all the time. All right, previous all-time high was 172. triple that, that's $500. Now again, I don't want to make it sound like these coins are destined to hit these price targets, because there's nothing to say that they will. We're just simply going based off of, I'm just simply going based off of, what if they do what Bitcoin did, essentially. So if it were to hit $500 from here, that's like a 15x or something like that. I don't know, my math's probably not the greatest. But guys, I was explaining this to a friend of mine. If you look at these charts, they're pretty much all the same. Okay, so what do you think that tells you? Let's talk about all the evidence that we have gone over so far. Bitcoin, bullish. Okay, it's already 3x from previous all-time high. We know that these altcoins follow Bitcoin's price action. So if Bitcoin 3x, it's from its previous all-time highs, it is extremely likely that these will. Okay, we just haven't gotten there yet. Zcash. Now, interesting. I hadn't seen this before. So you could maybe make an argument that this wick over here was a scam wick. But this one is pretty hard to. That's 2 separate months of price action. This was all the way back in November 2016. Its previous all-time high was 2,500. If you were to 3x that would be 7,500. Which from the price we're at now is something like a 50x. All right. So if I were to invest in these coins, and again, this is not financial advice, I wouldn't put too much money into them, especially these with the more ridiculous X's, because the bigger the potential to jump up, more than likely that means it's probably on the side of that it's not going to happen from a statistical standpoint. But if it does happen, man, you'd be sitting pretty. One Zcash is currently $150. So if you got your stimulus check already, or you're about to get it, that's a little bit over 10% of your stimulus check. You could pocket the rest. Again, not financial advice, but you could buy one of these coins, $150, and if it shoots back up to 7,500, man, you would definitely be enjoying your investment. Now, this is a coin I'm not only bullish on, but from a technical standpoint, it has some amazing fundamentals. From a fundamental standpoint, excuse me. It's a legit team. It's a legit coin. It's got a good team. I really like this one a lot than, say, a Zcash. Its previous all-time high was $28. So if you triple that, you'd be looking basically around 85. It's currently at 580, so that's like a 15x, 14x, something like that. But this coin, I'd be if you didn't show me this chart and I just read the fundamentals on it, I'd be very bullish on it. Feel free to look it up yourselves. And then we have CVC, previous all-time high here was 185. All right, so if you were to triple that, we'd be talking like 550, and it's currently at 47 cents. It is pumped huge today. It's up 40%. I'm really upset because I wanted to invest in this coin. I wasn't able to. I had my funds tied up in other projects, but that's just how it goes. Sometimes, though, you invest in one coin, you think you're doing well, and then there's another coin you want to look at, but you're just not in a place to get it yet, and then it does something like this. It goes up 40% in a day. That's just how the cookie crumbles. But anyway, I'm very bullish on this coin. I think it's going to 10x from here. I think it very likely will. All right, and the last coin for this little video, which is getting pretty lengthy, Bitcoin Cash. Previous all-time high was 4,300. All right, if you were to triple that, we're talking over 12K, and it's currently sitting at 500. I'll let you do the math on that. So in sum, if you just want to, just to kind of wrap up my thoughts, Bitcoin 3x, Bitcoin's still bullish. Altcoins have followed the pace of Bitcoin. What do I think is going to happen with altcoins? I think they're going to go up higher. And I think you could do no worse than to invest in this day and age or you could do worse, excuse me. Messed up with my words. But anyway, long story short, would I invest in crypto? Well, I can't give financial advice, but I know that I have invested in crypto. Again, I bought Bitcoin when we opened and closed a weekly above 11.6K. I'm very happy with that investment. It's really done well. And so I also bought Ethereum at 1,000. It's currently sitting near 1,800. Okay, so that being said, I will be looking to enter these different altcoins. Probably going to use the lower term time frames to gauge where I'm going to enter. But all the coins I mentioned, I'm highly bullish on. I think are going to do really well. And, I will look to invest. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But until then, it's been your boy Aaron G. All right, hope you guys take care. Have a good day. And once again, if you have any questions, hit me up.